The Mercedes-Benz GLE class is a fun little package that packs some cool, boxy styling with a surprisingly practical interior and what promises to be a fairly decently efficient powertrain. So, what does that mean for fuel economy cruising on the highway? Tonight we find out. Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and tonight we've got the real-world highway fuel economy test on the 2024 Mercedes-Benz GLB 250-4MATIC. In this test, we're going to head out on the highway and do 50 miles out and 50 miles back, averaging 70 miles per hour, to get a realistic fuel economy number for this compact crossover. And before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. This is a car that's eluded me for many years, but finally getting the chance to drive it, and so far there are some things I've really appreciated about it, including some wheels with a good amount of sidewall, and I can actually take or leave the dual clutch automatic transmission, but I do think it works better than the one in the BMW X1, and I like the styling and the practicality aspects of it. So if you do want to see more on the GLB, check the link below. We're going to have a full review. We've got a breakdown on the infotainment and a sound system review. All of that can be found below. So why do we do this test? Well, the EPA's highway fuel economy test, which gives this GLB I'm drawing a blank. I think it's 32 miles per gallon. It's possible it's 33. One of them is the 4MATIC and the other is the front wheel drive version. But that test only averages 48 miles per hour. We know there are plenty of people who use their vehicles on longer trips on the highway and would like to know what sort of numbers you can realistically expect here in the real world. So in order to test that out, we're going to head over to the gas station here and fill up. We're going to go out and do 100 miles, then come back, fill up at the same pump using the same 3-click fueling method, and get a result. Now, a few other things to note for today. Outside temperature is currently a balmy 84 degrees Fahrenheit. That should cool down as we get wrapped up, but it still might be above 70. Tire pressures have been set to not their door placard technically. Mercedes are interesting in that they give a maximum load on the door placard, but then under the fuel cap they give you a normal load rating as well. So we're at that normal load, 34 PSI cold. And we're going to run the climate control at 73 degrees auto. So let's fill it up. We had a nice clean fill, put in 2.248 gallons. And before we start the engine, we're going to reset the GPS and the car's trip computer. Get our climate control set to 73 auto, and we are ready to begin. And we do have a few different drive modes here in the GLB. We've got Comfort, Eco, Sport, Individual, and Off-Road. We're going to do this test in Eco, and I've actually driven the car around in Eco a decent bit throughout the week because the throttle is a little jumpy in Comfort mode, and Eco seems to calm that down just a little bit. We're going to take it nice and easy over to the highway. It's about half a mile away, and pick up the test from there. In Eco mode in this car, because it's a 48-volt mild hybrid, the engine shuts off as you're coasting. So right now we got no motor, and then press the accelerator, it comes back to life. Now the goal of this test isn't to hypermile. We're not trying to get the best possible fuel economy for this car, but rather a realistic figure. So in order to do that, we're going to get up to highway speed here at a reasonable pace and set our cruise control at a GPS indicated 71 miles per hour. That should allow us to average 70 over the whole test. Again, really happy with the powertrain so far this week. The jury's still out on the smoothness of the dual clutch. I've been going back and forth, but so far really has been quite good, and if it results in fairly efficient fuel economy, then I suppose I understand. Now this is kind of interesting though. German cars are rarely lower on the dash than the GPS, but this is actually reading that way. Looks like 71 on the dash is flirting between 71 and 72 on the GPS. I think if I settle in right here, 71, yep, we're getting 71 to 72. Interesting. Okay. Now some people have come into the comments and just said, whoa, your GPS is wrong. First of all, I think you have a fundamental misunderstanding on how GPS works. And second of all, this is the same device I've used for years. And every single test we do on the same route, it comes back with the same number. And we've tested vehicle after vehicle after vehicle. So this isn't all of a sudden randomly going to be wrong. It's accurate, trust me. Okay. Initial highway impressions. Decently quiet in here. Got a little bit of noise coming from the rear passenger door, but all things considered, Seems nice. Good amount of seat comfort and adjustability. 4-way lumbar adjustment at this price point. Like to see that. A little bit of a thigh extension as well. Do we not have blind spot monitoring though? Oh no, we do. Why didn't it come up to that car? Maybe I'd already cleared it. Okay. But either way, we're going to continue on with the test. I'm going to test out the active lane keeping, the adaptive cruise control. Let's make sure we're set to the closest distance here. And we're going to test the Burmester sound system with some members-only tracks. So check the link below if you want to see that. And in the meantime, enjoy this time lapse of the entire trip. Coming into the end of the highway fuel economy test here in the GLB 250. This is a nice place to be on the highway. The seats are comfortable, the ride is good. I really appreciate Mercedes having that sidewall on there. It's an easy way to ensure good ride quality, or at least encourage it. Sound system leaves a little bit to be desired. We're gonna have to do a little bit more testing to kind of see where it lands, but as Burmesters go, it's a little not quite as well tuned as all of them. It has to do with the lack of a mid-range and separate woofer speaker up front here. When it comes to fuel economy, we are scorching the EPA. We're looking at 36.2 MPG according to the vehicle's readout. And we did have a little bit of a slowdown right back there, but our average fuel economy on the dash didn't change. So I think we should be pretty good for the average over the trip. We're still averaging 69 miles per hour, so right in line. I've also really appreciated the active lane keeping on this car. We drive so many vehicles, and certain ones, the active lane keeping feature, if you're just cruising down the road casually, a nice straight road, and you just have a little bit of hand on the wheel, it keeps popping up at you and saying, hey, make sure you have your hand on the wheel. It's like, I do have my hand on the wheel. The Mercedes hasn't done that nearly as much, and when it does pop up at you, it's a very big apparent warning that comes up on the screen before it makes any sort of noise. So you don't have those situations where you're listening to music and not paying attention so much to the gauge cluster, and then all of a sudden it beeps at you. Taking a look at our tack shot, cruising at 71 miles per hour with this dual clutch automatic. We're coming in, looks like pretty low, about 1800 RPM. It's a very refined powertrain. You barely hear it running along, and the turbo can really kick in and build up some boost and get you up most hills with only going maybe down to 7th gear. I've seen 7th kick in a few times, but overall cruising at a nice low RPM. So we're going to get the GLB back to the gas station, fill it up, and see if our pump calculated number matches the fairly strong result here on the vehicle's trip readout, and see what our final figures are. 2.719 gallons going in for our final fill. We traveled 100.3 miles. 103 divided by that 2.719 is giving us, oh, very close to the vehicle's readout, 37 MPG here for the Mercedes GLB 250 all-wheel drive. And that's not too terribly uncommon for us to see better than EPA results for German cars. They like cruising at steady state speeds. So not too surprised here to see this one beating its EPA number by quite a bit. We've got a 15.9 gallon fuel tank in here, so 37 miles per gallon times that 15.9 gallon tank has given us, a healthy 580 miles of cruising highway range here in the GLB 250. All right, so that's right in line with that BMW X1, getting up there in the higher 30s as well. Now keep in mind, you do have to put premium fuel in here, so that is going to cost you a little bit more at the tank than maybe some of the more commonplace cars, the non-luxury vehicles, but 37, pretty good result. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the GLB and its beautiful interior ambient lighting, check the link below, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.